Welcome, everybody. This is the Rotary E-Club of Silicon Valley, and every week we bring you stories of people who are making a difference in the lives of others, making a difference in their communities, and making the world just a better place for everybody. We are part of Rotary International, 1.4 million people in 36,000 plus clubs around the world. Those are Rotarians, Rotaractors, good folks who care about their communities being better. Along those lines, we have speaking with us today, Nelson Peacock. Nelson is part of the Northwest Arkansas Council, although he has done all sorts of interesting work in a number of different places, including here in the Bay Area with the University of California President's Office. He worked in, I believe, President Barack Obama's administration on a number of fronts, which could be interesting in talking about community development as well. He has done all sorts of interesting things. You read about him on your way into this if you are watching this recording as an embed in our weekly meeting. And if not, take a look at the description in the YouTube on the YouTube page below, and feel free to follow that as well. With that, I'd like to hand it over to you, Nelson. Thank you so much for taking the time, and we welcome you to the Rotary E-Club of Silicon Valley.
Great. Well, thank you for having me. I'm here today to talk a little bit about what we've done here in Northwest Arkansas, where I am, and about how we are, trying to attract talent to our region. And so I'm going to go through a quick presentation on that, and then hopefully we can talk about it a little bit, because we're really excited about what we've been able to do here in Northwest Arkansas. So let me just jump right in. I am the president and CEO of the Northwest Arkansas Council, which is a regional nonprofit focused on economic development and quality of life here in Northwest Arkansas. And I'll show you on a map where we are in just a minute. But we were actually established by Sam Walton, Don Tyson, J.B. Hunt, and others back when their companies were just getting really going. And they wanted a way for these smaller towns in the region to work together. And the council was established to do just that. Let me tell you, again, I'll show you where we are, but we are, you can see there the star in the northwest part of the state of Arkansas, around 560,000 residents, growing really rapidly, faster than 94 of the top 100 MSAs, about 30 people a day, and projected to continue to grow rapidly as we move forward. You can see the dots on the map there represent regions and cities across the country that have matched our growth. Most of those are small towns. The only large cities there are Austin and Boise that have grown as fast as we are. So a strong upward trajectory and a lot of increasing diversity. Like much of the country, we've transitioned from around 95% white back in the early 90s to fast forward to today to around getting close to 1/3 underrepresented minorities here in Northwest Arkansas, and also a very young population as well. Our economy is grounded in Walmart, Tyson, and J.B. Hunt, which are industry leaders, in their field. Obviously, Walmart is Fortune 1. And so retail, logistics, and food dominate our economy. And we also have the land-grant university here, the University of Arkansas, in the region. A very strong corporate presence in Northwest Arkansas. In addition to those corporations that I mentioned, we have a large supplier community. So companies like Procter & Gamble, Nestle, Unilever, and others that have significant corporate presence here simply because they're here to service a Walmart. We have, many of these companies have a strong corporate presence, over 100 up to 200 employees. And because of all of that, we over-index about 5 times the national average of individuals here with corporate management experience. Our major companies are also investing in the region. Bentonville is being transformed by what Walmart is doing. Tyson Foods similarly is investing in its hometown, Springdale, which is about 15 miles south of Bentonville. J.B. Hunt continues to expand. They're the largest trucking company in the world, and the University of Arkansas has record enrollment at around 30,000 students. So all of this is happening here in Northwest Arkansas, and we are also investing in arts and culture, outdoor lifestyle, really to help develop our quality of life in addition to the strong economy. So world-class institutions like Crystal Bridges, but also a lot of investment in the local music scene, a lot of investment in, as you can see there, mountain biking, and Bentonville has tagged itself as the mountain biking capital of the world. And so a lot of focus on quality of life. And if you add those together, we have one of the best places to live and work according to national publications like U.S. News and World Report, the Milken Institute, Heartland Ford, which is a organization focused on the middle of the country. And so we have a lot of these amazing things going for us, but we have significant perception challenges. We know that by being in the middle of the country, also by being in Arkansas, I don't think it projects the type of lifestyle and the type of economy that you have in Northwest Arkansas. And we have to address that because right now we have around 9,000 open jobs in Northwest Arkansas. About a third of those are in the STEM fields. And so in addition to our workforce programs that we are strengthening, we have to be able to attract talent to keep our economy moving forward. So how do we go about attracting talent has been something that's been on the mind of regional employers for quite a while. And back in 2018, we started a process to help understand our challenges. And we did some research and figured out, kind of what we knew already, that we had an awareness problem and we have a reputation problem. You can see there, back in 2018, only 31% had ever even heard of Bentonville. That was with aided awareness. And about, a majority of people did not believe that this represented the type of place where they would want to relocate and where they would want to work. So we set about trying to address that. And we started down this path of creating a new brand identity that we've entitled LifeWorks Here, which is really designed to kind of hopefully rewire the way that STEM talent, creative talent, entrepreneurs, those things that we need for our future economic success, how do they think about Northwest Arkansas so that if they do get a job opportunity or want to relocate for remote work, they think about this as an option. So that is what we've been trying to do. And like I said, we've established a brand identity. We've done multiple social media campaigns and other campaigns that we'll talk about. We did an incentive campaign, and we'll talk about that. And then, of course, we're measuring our progress as we go. This is just a quick overview of the brand, really trying to explain Northwest Arkansas as a cohesive unit, and really digging into the tagline of LifeWorks Here that provides some understanding or hope or some conveyance of the idea that you can have a good job and a good quality work-life balance. The first thing we did to get this started was an incentive campaign. You may have heard about some of these in other regions, but this was the idea that you would pay people to relocate. And we did a $10,000 in a bike campaign, started it about 2 years ago. It really was successful beyond what we were expecting, with over 66,000 applicants. We only selected about 100, and that was a lot of work to select them down. And you can see most of those individuals had families, 40% have purchased a home. And so far, we've had well over 90% have stayed here in Northwest Arkansas. And so that was really important to us. But the real thing that we were trying to do was to tell our story better. And through that incentive program, we got 2.9 billion impressions, a lot of online placements, a lot of broadcast placements. And I'll show you just a few examples of those. We were in Forbes, BBC, New York Times, Washington Post, and on and on and on. You can see up in the corner, over 860 stories that were really important to us as we share, like I said, the type of life you can live here and the economic opportunities here. We combined that work with a national ad campaign, starting in several markets around the country based on key factors like migration trends, obviously media costs factored into it, market demand. And also we selected those places where some of our large employers were recruiting, but where we thought our message would resonate. This idea of kind of getting more balance in your life and living at a lower cost margin than in other places. So we started in Austin, Denver, Minneapolis, and Seattle. We expanded to Dallas and Atlanta, and now we've added Kansas City as well through multiple phases of this campaign, trying to better tell our story. So I'm going to walk through just a few examples of what we've done. This is in Austin, Texas, where we say careers and mountain bikes go further here. Again, we're just trying to drive interest back to Northwest Arkansas and to our website. Another one in Austin, come for the tech jobs, stay for the community. This one's in Seattle. It says, yes, Northwest Arkansas is trying to tell you something. And that is a significant piece of art at the Momentary that says you belong here. So we use that a lot. That's become kind of like an Instagrammable moment. If you come here, you do a selfie in front of that sign. Another one, this one's a little cheekier version. Make Texas one of your exes, and it's in Dallas. Other examples of billboards. This one's in Atlanta. Take the midnight train out of Georgia. Again, trying to drive some social media attention. This one is on a hotel. I think Life is Peachier in Northwest Arkansas. Another digital billboard, and this one's in Dallas, Texas, but you can see some of the imagery and the visuals that we're trying to show to people about Northwest Arkansas, many of whom probably don't know much. And then a little give Texas the boot. You guys will probably like that one there. Another one in Dallas, again, showing just the imagery in Northwest Arkansas. And then another billboard in Dallas. And this is some of the digital creative, Facebook and Instagram, that you could run across if you are targeted with this campaign. A couple more examples. Again, that's another one. Welcome to a world-class arts and music scene. We're not talking about Austin. And then finally, some digital display ads in publications that you would get. And hopefully people will click on those and learn more. So we have, to this point, been pretty successful, we think. We've gone from that 31% awareness, aided awareness, to around 59% in just a couple of years. And so we like the trajectory that we're on. Our goal is to get universal awareness, just so people know what you're talking about when you mention Northwest Arkansas or any of the cities here. And about 7 in 10 people that have heard of Northwest Arkansas know something about it, have a favorable impression. So that's positive, and we continue to move forward with this campaign. We do have a couple of video here that I wanted to show you that kind of encapsulates, I'm sorry, what we're going for with this campaign. So I will play that now.
Dear family, I'm writing to inform you that we're moving to Northwest Arkansas. Yep, you heard that right. It's not what you think. There's actually a lot going on. 3 huge companies, lots of startups, and your money goes way further. This is a high school. That's the art museum. And that one too. And, well, I guess there's just art all over. And the mountain biking, seriously. We're definitely going on a food tour when we visit. There's a million things to do here. And opportunity everywhere. Maybe that's why everybody's suddenly moving here. Anyway, you'll see. Northwest Arkansas. Life works here.
Well, that's what we've been working on here to try to tell the story of Northwest Arkansas. It's been not only a lot of fun for us, but I think it's been effective so far. So thanks for the time, Rustin.
That's fantastic. Before we move to the Q&A, you talked about these short videos that are kind of part of your social media campaigns, things like this. I think you've got a couple of those as a
Yeah,
part of your presentation. Could you show
yeah,
us?
yeah. Let me show those real quickly. These are really quick. So,
How to tell your spouse you're considering a move to Northwest Arkansas. Step 1, remind them of your vows. Step 2, dream job. Real house, bike trails, commute time, art museums, food scene. It's like Austin, but cheaper. Keep going. Step 3, Zillow rabbit hole. Northwest Arkansas. Life works here.
that's one of them. I'll show you another one.
How to tell your parents you're moving to Northwest Arkansas. Step 1, assure them you're not moving back in with them. Step 2, tell them you're moving to a place designed for you to make it on your own. Step 3, mentally prepare for lots of visits. Northwest Arkansas. Life works here.
And then just two more.
How to tell your kids you're moving to Northwest Arkansas. Step 1, inform them that it's an actual place. Step 2, house with yard, maybe a dog, mountain biking. This is your new high school, named one of the coolest places to live, film festivals, events, and yes, there's Wi-Fi. Northwest Arkansas. Life works here.
And the last one.
How to tell your friends you're moving to Northwest Arkansas. First, tell them you're moving, but not to Florida. Then tell them the place 30 people are discovering each day, where you get way more for your money, great biking, restaurants, and a bump in your career. Then watch the gears turn in their heads. Northwest Arkansas. Life works here.
All right.
Fantastic.
Well, that's what we've been doing here to try to tell our story.
Yeah.
So again, thank you.
Well, thank you. All right. So first of all, before we get to the questions, I want to introduce the folks we have on the call. If your camera's on, wave. If not, wave anyway, and we'll just all pretend we can see you. So friends and members of the club, we've got Susan with us. We've got Mike. We've got Shags, Cecilia, way to represent Italy. Good job. And we've got Nate, part of the team there in Arkansas. Good to have you, my friend. So I'm going to start with this. I love the term cheeky as you used it in the presentation, as you quite like kind of boldly be like, this is who we are in the face of a lot of places that people are under the impression, especially in this part of the country, are the places that are growing. I mean, you almost make it sound like people are trying to get out of Austin and Atlanta and stuff like this, and they're looking for that next place. Is that part of the thinking to describe those tiers as people look for the right place to be in terms of like work life?
Well, absolutely. Silicon Valley and the Bay Area is not the only place with significant housing prices and commutes and, a lot of the things that make life just hard to live. And so we are targeting those places where maybe it's not as big of a stretch to move to the middle of the country, and those places with the profiles of the talent that we need. Our view is if we can't attract the talent that we need here in Northwest Arkansas, those jobs will go somewhere else. And now with remote work, if we don't create a place where people want to come to live, then we will suffer economically over the long term. So that is what we're trying to build. That's why we're doing this, trying to tell the story, because frankly, we have a lot to offer that I think a lot of people, and the data bears this out, don't realize it, and our reputation would point in another direction.
All right. So clearly what you've established is a bit of a model, right? This is how to tell the story of your community. This is how to back it up with the kind of information that you want to have out there, related to what people are thinking about. This is how we measure progress. I mean, like all of this is kind of the stuff any Bay Area person can appreciate for sure. We do have a question along those lines that has come in. As growth impacts the cost of living metrics, is there a discussion about the next steps of the story? So where do you take this?
Yeah, we are, we're in a little bit of an inflection point of our growth. Most individuals over the last 20 years, you would come here and certainly be able to afford the big house with the big yard and all of those things. As we've grown, housing prices are starting to become a challenge. Now, they're not like they are in the Bay Area, of course. Average price is around $400,000 here, which is low nationally, but high for here. And so we've started a workforce housing program. We've actually learned from the Termer Center in Berkeley, trying to talk to them about their challenges, what they've done right, what they've done wrong, and really trying to learn from others that have come before us. And that will be important to us as we kind of build this place that we hope to keep the character of it. And the character of it is a place where you can do this exciting work, but it still has a small town feel. There are multiple small towns here that make up this region. We need to get those connected in the right way, but let them maintain their character, not have people commuting an hour or 2 hours. And we're really focused on how do we build a place where the teachers, the firefighters, the first responders, the people that form the fabric of your community can live in and around where they serve. We don't want teachers in one town having to commute an hour and a half to get to their job. That is, I think, a way community breaks down over time. We're going to do all that we can to prevent that from happening.
All right. Well, so as we think about this, right, the idea is to capture attention. So whether you are trying to start a business and you're trying to attract support and funding, whether you're a nonprofit trying to make something happen in your community and you're looking for volunteers, or whether you're a regional council trying to attract talent and businesses, right? There is that thing of we have to tell the story, and we have to tell it in such a way that people pay attention. The reason we know about you is because of the $10,000 on a bike campaign, right? Yeah. That it's one thing to be like, we'll give you $10,000 if you're one of the successful ones. It's another thing to say, and a bike. And so this whole thing of like mountain biking being a part of it, can you talk a little bit about the creative process that got your team to a place where you're like, this is how we're going to do this, so that people are like, hey, tell us more about that.
Yeah, so biking and biking culture has been a significant interest and investment of all the communities, or I'd say over the last 10 years here. It started with the Razorback Greenway, as we call it, that connected all the cities, north and south. I think it's around a 50-mile paved trail that connected all of the downtowns. And through the course of that, I think people really learned the value of cycling and the connections that you could make. And then that spurred, a lot of investments in mountain biking, and would be remiss to not say that the Walton family has really, because they have a love for mountain biking, have really invested a lot here, certainly in terms of the infrastructure, but also in a mindset. And so all of the cities here are really investing through their bond initiatives and other things to invest in cycling as not only recreation and sport, but also as a way to get around. And so that's really become a part of the culture here. And we wanted to highlight that as a way to distinguish ourselves, because, if you want to live in New York, you're not going to look at Northwest Arkansas. Or if you want to live in San Francisco, probably a little different mindset. So the mindset here, it's going to be a little more rural. It's going to be a little more lifestyle centric. And that's the kind of lifestyle that we want. Is you're going to easily get outdoors. You're going to be out in the fresh air. You're going to get on your bike to do some things other than, work out. So that was the story we were trying to tell. And we thought that was a good way to distinguish ourselves from some other communities that were actually offering those incentives.
Okay, yeah. So clearly, you've got some great supporters with the Waltons, right? I mean, that's clear. And in addition to valuing mountain biking, they value art, right? Like you mentioned the Crystal Bridges Art Museum. I visited there sometime in the last year or so and was really kind of stunned at how cool that museum is. Can you talk a little bit more about that and that those kind of examples of culture that get people going, oh my God, this is a really interesting place?
Yeah, so that opened around 10 years ago. I think it's doubled the projections of people that have visited from all around the region. I think a lot of people were skeptical of putting that kind of art museum in what was a rural town at the time. But Alice Walton, obviously Sam's daughter, had a love of art, and she was like, I'm going to build this here in Bentonville. And, it's hard to replicate that in a lot of towns across the country. But what that has spurred is an investment by all of our communities in their local artists, public art facilities, investments in live music venues, coordinating all that activity across this 2-county region. Those things have happened, and that is eminently repeatable in other communities across the country. You don't have to have a multi-billion-dollar art museum in the middle of your community to do some of that work. Now, clearly that helps put us on the map. It has spurred other people thinking about those types of things. But it's really, from being here over the past 5 years, it's more about the leadership that in the demonstration of what that can add to a community rather than, just the physical building and the works of arts that are incredible. It's hard to overstate the impact of that institution, but it's been more on the leadership side, I think.
Okay. So last question before we wind things down. One that came in related to the role of the University of Arkansas. So obviously any place that has a university is going to have, a set of connections, a set of possibilities that are going to be important for that community in some way. Are there particular ways that you've worked with the University of Arkansas to pursue the goals that you have in terms of, we'll call it brand awareness of the area, and is that something you can speak to?
Well, so the University of Arkansas is R1 Research Institute. California actually probably made one of its smartest investments, 60, 70 years ago when it invested in the University of California in a significant way to build out those research capacities. And so seeing those and working in that institution, seeing how they've collaborated, not only deep research, but how they've collaborated with the business community in Silicon Valley and others, the biotech sector there in Mission Bay, and down all the way across the state. We've really been trying here at the university with the businesses that we have, build those relationships and build that research enterprise to help attract new talent, to help startup companies that create jobs. And what has happened in California has certainly been a model for that, just to understand here what a research institution can do for a region and a state. I think a lot of state research institutes, because there's land grants in every state, have yet to appreciate what those institutions can provide to them culturally, economically, and others. A few communities have gotten it right. California, that is one thing that they have gotten right over time. We want to bring some of that thought and innovation and thinking about how to leverage business and education in that way here.
Fantastic. All right. So as we wind down, I'll hand it back to you in a minute for a final word. But for all of you who joined us for a discussion of how to promote a community, how to promote a set of ideas, how to get a little cheeky as you work to make sure that others understand the good that you bring to your community, I hope that you will do two things for us. You will let us know you were here a little farther down if you are on our SiliconValleyRotary.com page for this meeting. We asked you to let us know you were here. There's an attendance form. Fill that out. It'll automatically generate an email that if you are a visiting Rotarian wanting to make up a miss at your own club, you can pass that along to your club secretary, and all should be just lovely. Additionally, at the bottom, there is the discuss forum, and this is your chance to talk about the things that you see in this presentation and in other elements of the meeting. You're welcome to respond to what other people have said. Obviously, we want to keep things cool and civil, but we don't tend to have any problems on that front. So we would love for your comments. Please leave a thought before you leave the page. As we always like to do, we hand it back to our speaker for the final word. Nelson, take us home.
Well, yeah, thanks for the time. Obviously, there's a lot of great places across this country where people can live and have the kind of work and life balance that they want. Northwest Arkansas is one of those. And, we're just out there trying to tell our story about what kind of opportunities can present themselves in the middle of the country in a place where not a lot of people have heard of. So really appreciate this opportunity to share the story of Northwest Arkansas and the trajectory we're on, and hopefully people can take a look at our website and understand that, what we say in our tagline is true, that life can work here.
Excellent. Thank you for speaking to us, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.
All right. Thank you.